Welcome to my channel. This is today's second video. I hope you liked the first video and you wrote your opinion about it in the comments. I won't detain you. Let's get started. Story 1 from user Stubbs McGee. I did the same thing to a girl I had a big crush on. I only know this because when I woke up, she told me all about it. She even reenacted it by putting her head on my shoulder, because otherwise the story might have been confusing, right? And telling me how cute it was. I took this to be a green light and asked her a few days later if she wanted to hang out sometime, and she slammed on the brakes faster than I've ever seen. She awkwardly tried to casually explain how very busy she is that weekend, as well as the next two. Then she sorta left the room while she was still talking. She completely avoided me from that point on. We never talked again. To this day, I'm baffled by her reaction. We commuted together on a city train, and she always went of her way to sit next to me. If I was wearing headphones with my eyes closed when she got on, she'd poke me with a huge smile on her face and refuse to let me not chit-chat with her during the ride. She even brought a little adapter that lets you play music out of 2 pairs of headphones at once, so she could listen to my music with me when I was too tired to talk. Between all that, and the laughs I gave her and the looks she gave me, I felt like we were guaranteed to be dating soon. But the instant I asked vaguely about hanging out sometime, she reacted as if I told her I was planning to murder her family. Story 2 from user Harry Nutt. I used to visit the same coffee shop every day, and my now wife would also go there with her best friend before going to work. I would sit there reading and drinking coffee while her and her friend would sit across the way talking. We would occasionally catch each other checking the other out, but that was the furthest it got. I admit I was intimidated by her beauty and couldn't get the balls to approach her. One day, after staring at each for a while, her and her friend got up to leave. They stopped at the door, and I could see her friend asking her for something. She dug through her purse and gave her a business card. Well, said friend comes over to me and hands me the business card saying, "Please call my friend. We come in here every day. I have to watch y'all stare at each other and never say anything. Just call her already." They walk out after that. I called her about 15 minutes after that to introduce myself. We make plans to go out, and the rest is history. I am now married to the woman of my dreams and who is my soulmate. I swear she is. She was made just for me. Had I never had the balls to call her, or if her friend never gave me the card, I would have missed out on my life. I now have 2 beautiful daughters, and I couldn't imagine life without them. So muster up that courage and approach that girl. You never know. You could be missing out on the best thing that ever happened to you. Story 3 from user JoeBrony555. Worked at a car shop. Next door was a strip mall, and a 7-Eleven was on the end. So all day we'd walk over and grab drinks and snacks. Saw this really cute girl working there one day. Day after day goes by, small talk, figure out a few details, but nothing else. Wanted to ask her out, but it was one of the busiest locations in the city, and I didn't want to have either of us put on the spot with 10 people all around watching. This trash goes on for like 4 months, with me going in as much as 7 times a day. Then one day, she's gone. Don't know where she went, but I don't see her again. My heart drops. I figured she moved, or went to another location, or quit. I kicked myself in the back for not manning up and asking her after all those visits. A month passes, and then all of a sudden, she's there again one day. Turns out she was working overnight shifts. I didn't forget what I felt when I thought I lost her forever, so I finally asked her out. I believe my line was, "What would it take for me to get your phone number?" Her response was, "For you to get on your hands and knees and beg." I didn't know what the hell to say. I think I froze like a deer in headlights. She felt bad for making me lock up like that and just laughed it off and gave me her number. We dated for a week, and then she broke up with me after I bought tickets to opening showing of Talladega Nights. She was acting all funny when I was hanging out in her store trying to talk. I was creeping her on Facebook, and she told a girlfriend I was too clingy. So I took my dad instead to the movie. A week goes by, and I get a random phone call from her one night. Wants to meet up at Buffalo Wild Wings and explain what happened. So I go. We end up talking for like 3 hours. Come to find out, she really wanted to move back to her hometown and was afraid to get seriously attached to me. But when she looked back, she never was with someone like me, and she didn't feel she should ruin it for that reason. So we go back to her place after. And next thing you know, we're exclusive. And then engaged. And then married. And it's been almost 9 years and 2 kids later now. I won. Sorry for the typos if there were any. Out of time. Story 4 from user DR0N3R. She was the captain of our high school soccer team and stunningly gorgeous. I was a shy choir geek. It was our junior year, and she was easily one of the most popular girls at school. I happened to be standing behind her at the first football game of the year. I had just bought new shoes for school and started asking my best friend what he thought of them. This girl, who I had never had the guts to make eye contact with, looked down at my shoes and then looked up at me and said, "Those shoes are so sweet. Where did you get them?" I blushed hard and stammered out a shaky response. We ended up having 4 classes together that semester and became really close friends. Even though we were in committed relationships with other people at the time, we would still hang out together almost every weekend. 1 year later, after we both were getting over tough breakups, I went over to her house on a Friday night to watch TV with her. I honestly hadn't thought about trying for her before that night. I was still in a stage of shock that she had anything to do with me. That night, we locked eyes, and I leaned in to kiss her. To my utmost embarrassment, she denied me, and for a brief moment, I thought I had lost my dearest friend. I stood up to leave, apologizing and blushing as I did, and turned to go. Something must have come over her too, because she promptly stood up, grabbed my hand, pulled me in, and kissed me for the next 10 minutes. I ended up sleeping over at her house too. Nothing else happened that night other than a few more kisses here and there. 6 years have come and gone, and she's still here. I am the luckiest guy on the planet. We are so in love and looking to get married this December. I think I totally blindsided her when I leaned in for the big one. I think she was so shocked that she either panicked or didn't want to ruin what we had. We hadn't really flirted that night, and she was icing an ankle injury she had gotten in a soccer game. It must have been totally unexpected. I don't think either of us knew what hit us. I fell head over heels for her after she kissed me. I didn't want to wax the floor with her because I realized how much I cared for her, and I didn't want to ruin it by rushing anything. Looking back, I wouldn't change a thing. Story 5 from user deleted. I worked with her. I was just a weirdo pothead who played video games. She liked crafts, traditional domestic things, and talked about her dream of owning property, growing a garden, and living off the land. She was sweet, scatterbrained, and genuine to a fault. I knew right away that she was somehow different from every other woman I had ever met. One day, I suddenly realized that I was going to marry her. It came on me like an epiphany. I knew before I even started to court her that I wanted to spend the rest of my life with her. We weren't even really friends. We just talked when we worked together. I'd only ever been in one relationship before, in high school, and it was a strange and new feeling for me. It's hard to say how I came to this realization, but I did. I told all my friends that it was going to happen, and they thought I was crazy. I didn't care. I bought new clothes, started actually bathing and brushing my teeth, and wrote her poems and short stories to communicate how I felt, because I couldn't say it. One day she invited me to her Halloween party, and I decided to go. I stayed till the end, and that night we shared some intense emotional tales with one another. We didn't have sleep, but we fell asleep together in her bed. In the morning, she pulled back. She said that I was sweet and naive, and she could never really love me. She said that she had slept with so many men, and I was just a boy. She said that she was broken and unwise, and would only end up hurting me, so it would be better if we never got together. I remember this moment so keenly, because it was the moment I became a man. I put a hand on her cheek and said, "I don't care about any of that. I've been afraid my whole life. Hurt me if you have to. I can take it. I'm here, and I'm not going to go anywhere unless you tell me to leave." It was honestly the first moment in my life when I'd really put my heart on the line. A few days later, we got together again, but I had lost all my confidence. I was a mess. I just didn't know how to be a man yet. Everything was weird. She saved me. She knew what I was going through. She hugged me and told me to forget everything and remember what I'd said. I did. The first few months of our relationship were rocky and hectic. She was used to being with tough alpha males who knew what to do and imposed themselves. I was hesitant and, quite frankly, a little weepy. We didn't have sleep for months. I just wasn't ready. When we started having sleep, I quickly found that her sleep drive and her desire for kinky stuff was way over my head. I couldn't keep up. I felt impotent. We had long conversations where I tried to explain to her that for me, sleep had to mean something, had to be full of affection and love. She was bewildered. I might as well have been gay. It was very hard. She really didn't think it would last. I was too sweet and passive and naive. She wanted someone who would hold her down and take her, and I couldn't do that. I struggled emotionally. I was convinced that I was doomed. I contemplated, censored, and at one point actually experimented with cutting myself. I never kept anything from her, though. We talked through it. I bared every inch of my soul, and she bared every inch of hers. We really saw each other. We realized that we came from such different places, and decided that there was no use worrying. The only thing we could do is see where it went. For the first 2 years, I cried myself to sleep almost every night because I was so scared to be myself all the time. I struggled with authenticity every day. I knew I had to be myself, be honest, but it was so hard that the strain of resisting the urge to slip away made me completely raw. She never coddled me. She wasn't repulsed by my weakness, but she never reinforced my self-pity. She just waited for me to straighten myself out, and then did her best to welcome me back. I'm so grateful for it now, looking back. Most women would have given up. God help men like me. She went through a parallel transformation, but she handled it with much more grace. She wasn't sure about us for the first few years. It took time. She'd been let down so many times. She's an angel, really. Neither of us can really believe how lucky we are, and we've never forgotten how unlikely a couple we were. We've been together now for 7 years, and we're getting married in 2 weeks. I'm the happiest I've ever been in my entire life. We fit together completely because we have shaped ourselves through untold hardships and delicate moments into something bigger than either of us. I remember when I was young, I always fantasized about a relationship so complete that it was like one person in 2 bodies. We're not there yet, but we're working on it. We want to have children. If I had one piece of advice to give any other shy men, it would be this. Find a partner who is gentle and kind, with a simple and generous heart. Someone with a simple and generous heart who is strong enough to keep you honest and doesn't let you wallow or be weak. Someone who believes in you. And don't let that person down. Moments will come when it's easy to give up. Don't. Fight. Find your strength. You are stronger and more capable than you know. Make a choice. Keep making it. Over and over again. Every day when you wake up, make that choice again. Finding love and true companionship in this world is the hardest thing I have ever done, and it's as hard today as it ever was. Every day I wake up and make the choice to be a man and not a boy. I fall down every day, but every day it's easier to get up again. If you're a shy man reading this now, know that I believe in you, and know that there is someone out there ready to believe in you too. Don't take the easy way out. Don't give up. Thanks to everyone who is here today. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.